You are in exactly the right place. Today, we're focusing on a single, profoundly powerful concept that can fundamentally transform the learning dynamics in absolutely any environment. We aren't just going to skim the surface here. No, we're going to put this concept under the microscope and examine every single piece of it.
So before we even name the concept, I want you to ask yourself, who really owns the learning in your classroom? Think about a standard dynamic for a moment. Picture the traditional setup. Usually, the teacher is up at the front doing the vast majority of the talking, the planning, the pacing, and the assessing. The teacher's doing all the heavy lifting. But where does student agency fit into that picture? Are the students actively owning the experience? Or are they just renting space in the room for 45 minutes at a time? Hold on to that thought, because that is the foundational challenge we're tackling today.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to forensically deconstruct a very specific phrase today, the PACE framework for classroom cognitive ownership. Now, at first glance, I know that might sound like a dense piece of academic jargon. It's definitely packed with heavy terminology, but I promise you, by the end of our time together, you'll see this not as jargon, but as a real game changer. A clear, actionable blueprint. We're going to unpack this whole shebang word by word, concept by concept, to reveal the brilliant methodology hidden inside it.
Part 1. Deconstructing the PACE framework. For now, let's just think of PACE as our mystery vehicle for educational change, an acronym and a very deliberate method.
A framework is an essential supporting structure, and I really want to emphasize that word essential. PACE isn't just a loose idea, It's not a passing trend or some fun activity you just throw into a lesson plan on a Friday afternoon. It's a load-bearing structure. Think of it like the steel girders of a skyscraper. Without the sturdy steel girders of a framework, any attempt to hand responsibility over to students will literally just collapse into chaos. The PACE framework provides that necessary underlying stability to let learning actually happen.
Part 2. Deconstructing cognitive ownership. If the framework is the structural vehicle, well, this is our destination. This represents a massive paradigm shift in how we view the student's role in their own education. First up, cognitive. This relates to the mental processes of perception, memory, judgment, and reasoning. Notice how active all of those words are: judging, reasoning, perceiving. Actually, scratch that. It's really not about physical compliance at all. It's not about students just sitting quietly with their hands perfectly folded. This is about the invisible internal work. It's about the mental gears turning. When we use the word cognitive here, we're focusing entirely on the neurological effort the student is expending to make sense of new information.
Next, we have ownership, the act, state, or right of possessing something. Think of it kind of like a house. When you just rent knowledge for a Friday test, you don't really care if the metaphorical pipes burst on Saturday, right? You're just passing through. But when you own it, you take title to it, it becomes yours. We want students to take possession of their own perception, memory, and reasoning. They are no longer passive bystanders, they become the chief stakeholders in their own intellectual development.
So what does this all mean? Well, there's a stark contrast here. Passive reception is the old model. Information is just poured into the student and the student simply receives it. It's comfortable, sure, but it's highly inefficient for long-term retention. Cognitive ownership, on the other hand, requires struggle. It requires engagement. It requires the student to actively build meaning. The PACE framework is designed explicitly to bridge this gap, pulling students out of passive reception and pushing them right into active possession of their learning.
Part 3. Deconstructing the classroom. We have our structure and our goal. Now we just need to redefine the setting where this is applied. The classroom is the dynamic environment where the structural framework and student ownership actually collide. This space can be physical, 4 walls, desks, a whiteboard, or it can be entirely virtual. The medium doesn't really matter. What matters is that the classroom is the activation zone. It's the arena where the teacher sets up the PACE structure, steps back, and allows the students to step forward and take possession of their cognitive processes. It completely transforms the space from a room where teaching happens into an environment where learning is truly owned.
And this brilliantly illustrates what happens when we bring these words back together. The PACE framework for classroom cognitive ownership. It isn't just a title anymore, is it? It now stands as a powerful, unified thesis statement for educators. It declares that we absolutely must deliberately construct environments, whether physical or digital, that systematically force students to take active mental possession of their learning. It's a complete pedagogical philosophy wrapped up in a single elegant phrase.
So, I'll leave you with a final kind of provocative thought. How much cognitive ownership do you currently allow in your classroom? Allow is a really challenging word here,
Because often as educators, our deep desire to help, to guide, and to control the pacing actually robs students of the opportunity to struggle and take true ownership. So I challenge you to reflect on your own practice today. Are you doing the cognitive heavy lifting, or are your students? Keep asking those tough questions, keep examining your structures, and hey, thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.